What an incredible turning point the world is at this very night as we wait for China to decide whether it allows Russia access to its military might. Now, as you would have heard, the Kremlin has made China squirm after it asked Beijing overnight for military equipment and support to sustain its invasion of Ukraine. Now, this is coming from US sources to the UK Financial Times. It's thankfully the first real sign that the world's sanctions on Russia are truly starting to bite. I doubt whether he would have gone to China if he was well prepared and he wasn't being hurt by sanctions. But that's secondary. That is secondary to where this could go from here. And we'll unpack this further with a national security expert shortly. We need to remember that last month, when Vladimir Putin held talks with Xi Jinping during the Winter Olympics, the pair made some very bold statements about their bond, their union. They stated that there was a new era in the global order, and crucially, that their friendship, the friendship between their two states, had no limits. No limits. They jointly agreed to state that. The extraordinary efforts of the far inferior Ukrainian military and, of course, the hundreds of thousands who've joined the People's Army have slowed the Russian land invasion tremendously. Despite 200 Russian air attacks a day, these passionate Ukrainians have defended Kiev beyond anyone's expectations, especially Putin's. They continue to repel any significant incursion into that city and have therefore blocked any chance at the moment of a surrender. The speculation is that Russia is out of fuel, it's out of weapons, it's out of missiles, and they need all that and more from China. Now, this also opens up the possibility that maybe Ukraine has a real chance of defending itself, at least in the medium term. But the world is now waiting to see what China does. Will Beijing show us that it's dumping its historic policy of not interfering in other states' conflicts and provide part of its state-of-the-art weaponry to Russia? Beijing spends $230 billion on the Chinese military per year. There'd be endless hardware options for the Russians. Could NATO then ignore that kind of mammoth support and firepower, and what will they do? Because that becomes a world war, does it not? Two authoritarian heavyweights up against the rest to enforce a new world order, as they stated last month. Or will China ditch their new friendship with no limits agreement and say, no, we won't support you? Can you imagine Putin's reaction to that? If he's not greatly frustrated and desperate by now, he will be at that stage. It may also give nations like Australia the best indication yet whether China will or won't move militarily on Taiwan in the near future. The world's united front against Russia may have shocked Beijing enough for the Chinese to run a mile from being dragged into such a dead-end war and all the repercussions associated with that. China today denied it's been asked by Russia to help. Obviously, far from comfortable at being thrown into a corner by Putin. But they are now in a corner, and how they decide to get out of that awkward position has incredible consequences for the world. We've got to watch this space very closely.